Thank you so much for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love. We are a conscious talk show to learn about self empowerment, the law of attraction, creating financial abundance, and natural health. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Awakening with Katina Love, where there are over 100 shows to download for your listening pleasure. We have a returning guest today, Tammy Braswell. She's an intuitive channel with all that is, high vibrational healer, energetic creation coach, guide, and teacher. Her website is createbyvibration.com. Today we're going to talk about channeling and actually allowing our guests to channel all that is, what some will refer to as God, Source, or Universe, or whatever you call that higher power. So welcome, Tammy. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. We did
Thank you.
2 shows last week, and it was really exciting. It was a really great experience.
Yes, I enjoyed talking to you, and we touched on several different topics then.
Yeah, we did. It was quite amazing. Actually enlightened me. It's been amazing. So we're going to talk about channeling. Okay, so what is that? What is channeling?
Channeling, I would share that as a broader view of it, it's whenever you allow higher information to be shared with you, to come to you in some form. We're all channels. We're all tuned into a frequency, and things that are like that frequency come back to us, and we can be around other people and sense things in them that we may not be getting from an outer view of them, so they may not be saying them, but we can feel them, so we're tuned into a channel that way. People like me who've more cultivated it and nurtured it because it's something that we really enjoy doing, and it's more of a natural gift type area, that by doing so, by nurturing and cultivating it more, I've been able to tune into much higher frequencies, so that's higher consciousness, and I allow that to come through me. Even before I start to do what we'll do later, the voice channeling, I was already receiving that information in different forms through mental words. So there's not actually words outside of me, more of a mental words or pictures or just knowings. That was how I was channeling before, and I still do that, but now I'm able to move my consciousness to a place that I can allow that consciousness to actually come in and speak through me. Kind of, I like to say, drive the car for a little while. So depending on how a person channels, it just is them opening themselves up to higher frequencies to come in and share information with them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So it's kind of similar to what Esther Hicks does when she
Yes.
channels Abraham Hicks.
Yes. From what I understand, Esther is a trans channel, which means that what she shared is that she hears Abraham's side of things, and they're like a collective consciousness energy that speaks through her, but she doesn't hear what's going on with the person outside of her. Now, I'm a conscious channel, so I'm basically just kind of setting myself, and it's hard to explain exactly how I do that, but kind of setting myself off to the side and then allowing them to speak through me. But I'm still conscious, meaning I still hear sounds and I still hear the conversation they're having with the other person. And I will get pictures or feel what's going on with the other person. So I'm very much involved in it. I'm just not talking. They're again driving the car. That's how I view it. Like when I take a back seat, they're in the driver's seat, and then when I want to be in the driver's seat, they always take a back seat or move out of the way. So that's the difference between how she does it and I do it, but it's the same thing, the way that she talks when she lets Abraham come through.
Awesome. I'm just going to share a little bit of my experience. I can feel the energy of source. Like even right now, like I just get really hot. Like right now I'm really hot. And then I can feel this energy come through my body and like out to my hands. it's like I could just feel this like heat. And I just started getting like familiar with this, and I'm still getting familiar with it. Like within the last month or so,
Mm-hmm.
since I've been like doing more readings myself, and I guess channeling,
Mm-hmm.
channeling source. And so it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. And even last week, when we did our segment, and I actually did a channeling session with you, I felt the heat come through. I felt the energy, and then I felt this like tingling, like through my head and even like through my teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And it just was like, wow, that's really cool.
It's very high vibrational energy when, well, it already is because I'm always connected to that space, but when I let them enter, it amplifies that. So I've had a lot of people say that they actually feel the rush when they come in.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. It's quite amazing. So let's talk some more. What inspired you to start channeling?
Well, like I mentioned, it's something that was already present. It's like I don't like to always say a gift because we all have our gifts and we can all actually do this type of, um, energy work because we are all connected to it. But it's ever since I was a child, I've received information from spirit and been able to feel energy. I didn't know it when I was younger, but it was about 2011, I was introduced to Abraham Hicks, to Esther Hicks. And I thought, after reading her story of how she got started, that since I had been connected so much my entire life, it would probably
Mm-hmm.
be pretty easy for me to do it. So I did. And I started channeling a smaller celestial group that called themselves Silas. They
Mm-hmm.
give a name only so that we go by names here, titles and things like that. So it makes it easier to converse with them because I now know how they reference themselves. And those names are just for us because they
Yeah.
don't need that. But so for a couple of years, I channeled Silas, and I had to get used to the vibration in my body because I could feel when they came in, they cleared my throat a lot. Um, and so then they let me know that my vibration had gotten higher, and I was able to bring in a new collective of consciousness that actually just called themselves the collective. And I
Mm-hmm.
could sense that they were bigger. Now, I only ever shared this with a couple of friends
Yeah.
because there is a space of comfort that I have to be in to release my consciousness for them to come in. I feel safe with them, but I like to feel safe in my surroundings to be able to relax enough to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And my friends didn't quite understand it, and even the ones who thought they did because they knew Abraham or knew that work, it wasn't a right feeling space for me to be able to really relax. So I did a lot myself and recorded the conversations. I would put thoughts out in my mind, and then they would have conversations back, and I would record it. And then earlier this year, I finally did it in front of other people, a
Wow.
group of people, and just jumped in and said, okay. Oh, well, I'm sorry. After the collective, a couple years later, it became All That Is. And
Mm-hmm.
all that is what I would refer to as Source, God, because even Source has vibrational levels to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so everything has a vibrational level. And this is the lowest vibrational level that that a human in the three-dimensional vibrational energy can connect with, if that makes sense.
It totally do because the ancient scriptures. When I did refer to the Bible, it talked about how if God came in with all of its glory, it would like
Mm-hmm.
totally knock us out, like we wouldn't
Yeah.
even be here.
Well, it's like, it would
Because
be
the
like,
energy is so strong, and it's like a big shining light.
yeah. So
It's like
it's,
just so potent, like that, all that energy, all that
yeah.
force, all that
Mm-hmm.
all that is, all that is of all that is. I don't think we could possibly experience that on the earth plane
Yes.
because it would be so powerful.
Yeah, I like to refer to it like it'd be like plugging a toaster into a transformer.
Right.
It has to go through the electrical. That's why I had to have two other collectives come in first.
Mm-hmm.
And then my whole life has been kind of becoming that vibrational energy to be able to handle that, because to me it is like it's beyond all the angels, and it's everything that everyone else talks with. It encompasses all that is, thus the name. So I had to get to a place that my physical body, when they are coming in, to whatever degree they come in, can handle that vibration.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm ready to do some channeling with you. I mean, let you do the channeling. So, are we ready? You want to prepare us?
Yes. Okay. Well,
Right.
I like to start with intentional breaths. And these are so that everyone listening, and know that even though this is a recording, when you're listening to it, that vibrational energy is embedded into it. So you're still going to be receiving all of that high vibrational energy that we're in right now. And those intentional breaths allow you to open up and become more receptive to what is here, to what's available to you, and just to be more receiving of it and allowing it to move, and to let go of the heaviness of things that you might be wanting to bring in, not even conscious of them, but to actually just release them for now so that you are able to be in the highest vibration. So we're going to inhale through our nose, open up the space, and exhale out through our mouth, releasing the heaviness. So let's go ahead and take a few breaths. So inhale through your nose, feeling your heart area and your energy field opening up and becoming more receptive. And exhale out through your mouth, any tension, stress, heaviness. Inhale again through your nose, even feeling yourself expand more. And exhale out through your mouth, anything that's heavy. And one more inhale and exhale. Are you feeling more open?
Yes.
Great.
More relaxed too.
And relax. Good. That means that you're more in the receiving energy. There's a couple things I just want to let everyone know, that in this high vibrational energy that you're in, you'll be receiving healings and activations at a deep level so that you can move into these higher vibrational energies. You'll also be experiencing structural shifts in your cells and DNA, expanded consciousness, and opening up of your field of awareness. And this allows for greater opportunities to come in, and your view becomes bigger so that you can receive them from higher vibrational experiences. And also the movement and dissolving of stagnant, blocked, or constricted energy that's in your field or in your body that's from past stuff that starts to surface and be released. And something that's very important is to stay well hydrated for 3 to 7 days after you experience this, because the energy is very strong for 3 days and lasts up to 7 days. And while that's happening, there's integration from all that's going on in your body and your energy field. And water helps us to stay very strong in our energy, because our body needs that electrical current running through it, and being well hydrated allows a smoothness of that. So we always want to stay well hydrated after you listen to this.
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. So we're ready to channel?
Yes.
Okay. So as I mentioned, I will still be present, but I'll allow them through. And when they come through, they'll say, "We are here." And once they say that, you can have your conversation.
Beautiful.
And then when you're done, just let them know that you're complete.
Okay.
And they'll say goodbye, and I'll come back out.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
We are here.
Hello.
Hello.
I have some questions. I had put some questions on a Facebook group, Abraham Hicks Vortex group, because I figure people in this group are more receptive to this type of information.
Mm-hmm.
So I have some questions, a few questions from them. And I'm going to start out with what Leah asked. And she asked, how can I release blocks easily?
Well, releasing blocks is as easy as you want it to be. And many have a conditioned belief system that things have to take a little longer than they are necessarily inclined to take when in the energy of connection. So, depending on the block and the level that it is, how deeply rooted it may be, if it's something from childhood or it's something that's very emotionally charged for her, there would be a little bit more of a process to that. But it's identifying and recognizing what that is. Because when you bring it to the surface, then it can no longer hide in the background and not be seen and just run like on a computer. There are many programs that are running in the background that you're not even necessarily aware of, but they're maintaining the process of the computer and how it's functioning for you. You're more aware of the ones that may just be on your desktop. So when these blocks are deeper, they're pressed down, and although they're affecting and influencing the world around you, you may not know what they are. So to begin is to get in tune with recognizing what those may be, where they may be coming from, and you can even just ask, I feel there's a block around, if you're aware of the thing, my relationships, my money, whatever it is, and then start asking, what is that block relating to? And then you're first inviting that to come up for you and allowing information. So be open to that. Turn on your channel of openness so that that information will start coming through. And then once you've identified that or made a connection to it, if that's enough of a connection, you can say that you're ready and willing to release whatever that is that came up. Now, even though you're releasing it, part of what your soul's intention was to come to the human experience in this 3D world was to have every experience. So you will experience it to some degree. It may just be that you are more tired. It could be irritable, like the emotion, if that's what it is, comes up and is showing itself to you. Just be aware of that as you're doing this work and allow yourself the gentleness of the process of going through it. And then once you do it, then it'll be fully released. And if that's something that you find you have more than one of, you can do the same process again and again.
I would like to request, because as a human, I mean, she's not the only one who's dealing with that. I even deal with that. Like, I would like to request even for myself, to be reminded when these things come up. And like you're saying, to be gentle with myself. Can you help me to be aware when they come up and to just allow and move through?
Well, if you're consciously asking that they come up and that you release them, you are participating in that. So you're saying, I want something to come up. Then you're recognizing that you've received that message has come up. And then you're tuning into what that is. And then you're consciously saying, I'm ready and willing to release that. So you're participating in the release. So as those things are happening afterwards, you note, like Tammy shared, 3 to 7 days after you do the work, things may come up. So you just pay attention to that period of time when you have that irritability or that tiredness or achiness, that's the movement of it. That's your experience of it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It really does, because I've been experiencing tiredness for the last couple weeks, a few weeks from now.
Yes.
Before now, I'm saying.
There's been a lot of intense energy, and what the tiredness is it's all working within your energy field and body. And it can be sometimes exhausting. You're not used to those higher frequencies. So there's your frequency working with that frequency, and it would be like working out. And that does exhaust you. So there's a level of tiredness involved in that. So the more that you just relax and allow that to happen, then there's no resistance from your 3D vibration or the vibration you're currently in with the higher one. You just let the higher one come in and do its work and just allow yourself to relax and let that happen.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, next question is from Angela. She wants to know, what kind of work will bring me great abundance?
Work that also brings you great joy and love from your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Abundance is a very broad word. Generally, when it's used in the human experience, it's for money. And money is secondary to the thing that you love and enjoy. If you're working and doing anything that comes from your heart, then that's your heart's desire, and it's coming from a place of love. So it's tuned into all the good things that are available to you. So that's what's going to come back to you. And if you desire more financial abundance or more love abundance or more happiness abundance, whatever that is will come back. So there's a little bit more of a specific abundance in there as well. But when you tune into your heart's desire for it, then you're tuning into the true frequency. If you do anything in the 3D world from a place of, I need the money, that's separation because you see the lack of it, and more of a desperate energy, that's resistant. So it's pushing it away because you're looking at, how can I make this money that I have to have? Yeah. And there's resistance around that. And it feels icky when you're resisting it that way, because then you feel like you have to do something for it that you don't want to do. When you can truly move into the space of, it feels good, what you do is from your heart and in a space of love, and that you actually can visualize the abundance flowing into you in all forms, then it has to do that. There'll be a response that comes into your life equivalent to that. But that focus on, I need money, brings out the lower vibrational aspects and the resistance. So it's not easy for it to show itself to you in a higher form.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next question. What is an earth suit? Like, what is this body for? Like, how can we, I'm not even sure how to ask the question. How can we use our body or this earth suit or vessel to the best of our ability while we're in it?
It comes off of the other question as well. It's to be in that heart space and loving space of how you treat yourself, how you treat this body. It's a vehicle. You get into a car to take you places. That's a vehicle. This is the temporary vehicle that you exist in while in this 3D plane, because you're light, you're energy otherwise. You don't have a physical form. So there's a small portion, when people think of the soul, it is only a very small piece of your total essence that is even in this physical body and connected to it. And that allows you to manipulate the body, to move it, to get it to do what you want to do, to have this experience. And a major reason that you come into the physical plane is for the 5 senses: seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, and smelling. Those cannot be felt or experienced when you are in the form of energy.
Really?
So the human experience, yes. But once you've been here, you retain the memory of the senses. So many beings that have never incarnated in the physical world never fully understand what the senses are. So that is very unique to the souls that come here. These senses allow you to experience life in a different form. And many don't realize how wonderful they are. So when you eat quickly and don't savor that flavor and the taste and all how it moves around in your mouth. Or how they say, smell the roses. Why? Because you're taking that in, you're activating that sense that your soul came to have, that it wanted to smell, it wanted to feel, it wanted to touch. It wanted to have this physical experience of senses. So that's a big reason why you're in the physical body, It's because you want to have that experience.
So do you source experience those things through us?
Yes.
So do you know, like, for instance, what chocolate tastes like?
The perception of it, yes.
Okay, just
Each
curious.
person will experience it differently, just as in colors. Even though someone might say it's green, each one of you sees that green ever so slightly different. You all have your own version and experience of it. And I get to experience it through all of you in that way, in each unique way.
That's beautiful. So, Source, what do you experience in the spirit realm? What is it like there?
Well, see, that would indicate that we actually experience it as you do in the physical world. It just, our energy encompasses everything. And actually, I just referenced it as I, which can be done as well because we are all one. So the I exists there, but we often reference it as we so that there's a better understanding of a collective of energy. So that collective of energy is all things. That's why we've shared the term all that is. Everything is us, and we are everything. So there's no disconnect there. It just all is. So it's a blanket of everything. There really are no human words to fully express that because the human mind sees more of a box type world. It's like why many view us, God, as an old man sitting on a throne who's moody. That doesn't exist that way. We exist as a blanket of collective energy that all things are part of. So if you were just to imagine that everything is in it, and we're in everything, it's just always, all the time. And the mind has a challenging time fathoming what that is. So however you see, if there was just a giant cloud or big fluffy blanket and everything was covered in part of it, does that make sense?
Yes,
Can you
absolutely.
imagine that? That everything is just within it and all part of it.
I have another question. This is me, Katina, speaking. I feel so connected to the spirit realm. It's like I love this wonderful energy of source. It feels so wonderful. It feels so good. And I find myself wanting to be in this energy more and more and more. And why is that?
Because it's the familiar. It's where you came from. And it feels good.
Mm-hmm.
And you're also raising your vibration to get more aligned with that energy. The physical world has a lot of strife, struggle, low vibrational energy. And yes, you do come here so that you can experience some of that contrast. And you get down in the muckiness of it. And then you find your way back out of it. And so that's all you've done is you've released more of that and are stepping into the vibration of the energy that you are more familiar with. And it feels good. Everyone's energy wants to, or vibration wants to come up to a higher place because that is your natural state. But that life conditioning, the desire to also come to the physical world, to be in that contrast feeling energy so that you can recognize when you've moved out of it. Because when you're in energy form, it's just energy. It's just that vibration, that good feeling vibration. There isn't the contrast that you experience in the human body. So you like to get a little rolling around in that mud, if you will, of that icky feeling stuff so that you can feel it and know it. And you can also become conscious again and move up out of it. And you can go back down and visit occasionally if you want to. You don't have to, but you can. But then you can come back up and you feel the difference. Don't you know when you're, like you're saying now, when you feel really good and you feel like you're in it, and then when you know that you're not because you feel the opposite of that, the more heavy energy. And then you get to choose which one you want to play in more often.
I love the higher vibrational frequencies more and more often. Absolutely. I have a question from this person, Nigendo. He wants to know if there's a such thing, or she, if there's a such thing as a sin.
That's a human word, a human term, human perception. There is no such thing as sin unless you believe in that term and that you are performing such an act or such a thought or whatever area that you believe is that sinning has happened. You are not born sinners. The term separation has been referred to in place of that. So you were born in separation. That was the physical form. You're still always connected to us, but you allow yourself to turn away from that high vibrational feeling so that you can be in that muckiness a little, to feel it, to get into it and to know it so that you know when you're not in it and to know when you're in that high vibration. So sin itself doesn't exist other than in the minds of man, and it's to elicit fear and control for whatever period of time that the mind wants to believe that that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And however long you allow that is how long you live in that space. But that did not come from where you came from. That came from the human experience.
Okay.
We see you all as beautiful and magnificent and just living the human experience. There is no good or bad. It's just how you perceive it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I have a question, excuse me, from Danielle. She wants to know, what's the best way to raise our vibration?
To feel good.
Mm.
To tune into your heart. Your heart holds that emotional place of the feel-good feelings. And those are what fuel this vibrational space you're in. When you can sit and just feel the love, feel the compassion, feel the peace, feel all the things that feel really good to you, you just raised your vibration.
How do we train ourselves to stay in that high vibrational place or frequency?
As we mentioned before, you like the contrast, and you wouldn't recognize that you're in a high vibration all the time if you didn't dip. That's how you know when you're outside of it. It's because now you feel differently, and then you choose to go back up into the vibration. You're always up leveling into a higher vibration, so then the one that you're just in may feel like a lower vibration, and as you moved into the next one. So you're always up leveling through vibrations. And then the ones that are lower are always going to feel a little off, like not quite there anymore, because now you've experienced a higher one. But without that contrast, would you know if you were in a high vibration?
Right. That's true. No,
Like you wouldn't know you're happy if you didn't, if there wasn't sad to feel too. That's part of the human experience. And what happens is that many have come here and then they get so involved in wanting to be somewhere up in the higher vibrations, which is wonderful, but then they want to move out of and never feel those other vibrations. And that is part of the human experience. So revel in it while you can. And then at a certain point when you've had enough of it, and not just because it just feels bad, but because your soul really feels like it's completed what it wanted here, then you can stay in the higher vibrations. But again, you're going to move up into new ones. There's always going to be that variation of noticing until the new vibration becomes your familiar vibration. There is that path of moving up there and maintaining the new higher vibration and letting go of what was in the previous vibration that won't move there with you, that you're going to feel something different. And that's, again, part of it. You wouldn't need to be in the physical body at all if you maintain just this really high vibration, because all the experiences you wanted to have would be complete, and you would transition back into your energetic form.
Got it. What do we do while we're sleeping? Like, where do we go? What does our soul do, or spirit?
Your consciousness stays active while your body is resting. And actually, that's why you take time for sleep, so that your body can rejuvenate and your consciousness can explore. It explores different dimensional energies, different paths that you might want to go on. But all of that seems like more of an unconscious experience, because when you wake up, even though you might remember bits of your dreams, you don't really remember all that you were doing. And you may even wake up in the morning and find that you're a little exhausted. And you slept really well, but you seem a little tired. That's because you were very active during your sleeping hours. And so your body didn't quite catch up with the rest that it would have liked while you were still busy in your consciousness, because it's still connected to your body. So it could be,
I'm sorry.
it could be for any reason that you go travel. You could go visit others. You could work on higher planes with other beings. There's a lot that you can do because your consciousness doesn't sleep.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, when you said activity, I'm like, must be a lot of activity when even myself sometimes, wake up a little exhausted. I'm like, I slept for 8 hours or 6 hours or whatever. I just
and you'll wake up often during the night when you're very active, because it activates your body to come back. So particularly between 3 and 5 a.m., generally, people will find that they're awakened when they're being very active in their consciousness while they're sleeping.
Okay. Beautiful. I'm going to
We like to stay busy.
We like to stay busy. Okay. I have a question from LK Lee on Facebook. And this person says, will I own my dream home in my city by the bay?
If your heart desires it, again, the easiest way to create the things that you want. You're always creators. You're always creating everything in your life, but more consciously creating it is to tune in with your heart's desires. Those are the purest desires that you have. They're not wants, like superficial saying, I just want this or that for whatever reason. They are truly your heart's desire. So if living up on the bay is your heart's desire, then that can happen. And as long as you stay tuned into that purity of that heart's desire and the love of that space and how good it feels, then it'll show up for you. So whatever that is, identify what it is and why it's your heart's desire. Feel into it. The why behind it makes a difference. Sometimes things are more superficial, like that would just be nice. It would be nice to have the big house. And then if you ask someone, well, why would you want the big house? Well, it just would be nice to have this big house. But is there what's going on by living in that house? When you can tune into the feeling of living in that house and what that means to you, does it mean, more of the family can show up? Is it because you just really want to feel this, having this space, this office and this bedroom where you rest, and the office where you do your work, and an area where you have fun, and an area where you, whatever it is that house means to you. And then why do you want to be on the bay? It's because you want to be near water, and maybe why that water as opposed to a different location. But really tune in and let your heart really express the desires for that. And then that activates a more conscious, pure manifesting ability that way, than to just think when people say, oh, we'd just like to have $1 million. Well, why? Well, because I figured that will cover everything that I'd want to have, but there's no real heart's purity and desire in that. It's just a thought that that's what they should have so that it would do what they think it might do. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Robin asks the question, will she get her health back?
Well, it didn't go anywhere. It's only offering messages of how she's giving into this physical world more than knowing who she is and what she's capable of, and releasing those things that are heavy and weighing on her. So her health is still available. It's just behind all of the mucky, lower vibrational energy that she's come to believe is her reality.
Okay, beautiful.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Catherine, let me see. I think I have about 2 questions left. Catherine, she wants to know, when does the golden age start?
Does Catherine understand what the golden age is? That would be my question to her.
Oh.
And what is she looking for in the golden age? That's just a title. That's just a wording. What is it that she believes will happen during that period? And if she's experiencing any of it, or seeing it outside of herself in experiences of the world, then she's already experiencing it. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, it does. I'm just trying to read her message here. She says, when does the golden age start? If we are or were in confluence age. I didn't even know that was a word. Confluence age.
It's her interpretation of what she believes that is.
Okay.
And there are people out there who are sharing that they believe this, and if it resonates and you're already experiencing it, then it's already begun for you. A lot of these experiences that people believe they're waiting for are already happening for them. It's just being in tune with, are they noticing that experience happening? Because have you ever read any of those lists people put out that say, if you're awakening, you'll have all these things happening?
Yeah.
Then if you identify with all those things, then you'd be awakening, would you not?
Right. That's true.
Right. So if she wants to identify with a period of time that she has heard could occur or feels that could occur, then if she tunes into it and feels that she's experiencing what's part of that, then she's in it. Everybody is actually having their very own experience. And then things just interconnect so that you are experiencing different aspects of your experience with others. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
They're all like interweaving into each other, but you're having your own. So if you want to believe I am awakened, then you are awakened. And then you'll start experiencing things that people start telling you are part of being awakened. So if she wants to believe she's in a golden age, that is just a term, again, by humans. In higher thought and higher consciousness, there's no need for names of anything. We only offer any names, and utilizing Tammy's words and understandings so that you can understand them as we share them.
Beautiful. One final question from Eddie. He says the same pattern keeps showing up with different people when it comes to money and love. Although he has been studying spirituality for a long time, he can't reach the break-even point for himself. And he says, please help.
As we talked about earlier, that those are those blockage energies, those stagnant energies. And sometimes those come from this lifetime, from other lifetimes. They're carried in so that you didn't bring that to a full completion of your soul's intention, and comes into the next lifetime so that it can be experienced more fully into completion. It can be generational energy that comes from your family, and that's why you chose the family that you're in. So there's different aspects of why the energy just keeps repatterning itself as you're moving along. But it's just for you to take as an identifier that you're repeating certain energies. So to start working with those, determine what it is that is repetitive, and then asking, what is this pattern? What does it mean? How can I shift it? All that information is within you. And if you are having a challenging time with any of it, there are others out there who are further along than you that you can seek out for support. That's okay. You're not here alone. You're not meant to do this alone. Or we would have just plucked one person down onto the planet and they could have just done it all themselves. We put you here as multiple people so that you interact with each other, so that you help each other grow and expand and become more of who you are. So if it is challenging ever for you to tune in and to get the answers that you're looking for, then go ahead and seek someone out who has done so and allow them to help you too. And then as you excel and expand, you will help others in whatever way that you do along the path as well.
Okay. That was the last question. I thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Doris, for assisting us in these questions. Thank you so much.
You enjoy the opportunity to converse with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm back.
That was cool.
Yes?
That was great.
I always get new information being on this side of things too. Makes me always think after they've spoken.
Is there anything else you want to share with people? So what services do you offer?
Well, if you want to connect with all that is in your own more personal, private way, I offer sessions with them. Also, they come through and do block releasing. So I offer group block releasing sessions that you just come on, bring several blocks that you feel you have, and let them go, and they're no longer yours. So that's always an option too. That's kind of a quicker way to do it. I've done that with some people who are not even on this path as intensely as others, and they've had some amazing results. And then there are different opportunities to connect with them however you want to do that. So you can just go to my website under Work with Tammy, and they'll find me there.
So your website again is createbyvibration.com.
Yes.
You want to reach out to Tammy. Are there any other last thoughts you wanted to share before we end the talk show?
Just remind everyone to stay well hydrated and just allow yourself to process all that you've experienced and all the energy. And did you feel them come in this time?
I did. I felt the heat again, and I felt the tingling. And I actually felt it, before I kind of felt it like up in my head area, but now I also feel it up in my head area, down to my teeth, down to my sinuses. I even felt something like come through my nose, which kind of reminded me of what Esther talked about, how Abraham spelled Abraham through her nose when they first came through. But it wasn't like that. But this nose, I just felt the something there. I don't know what that was, but I felt the energy.
Remember, we translate through our senses. Like they were talking about, that's one of the reasons we want to be in the human body, is for these senses that you can't have if you're not in the human body. And so you were experiencing them through that sense.
And then I felt them going down my legs and down to my feet. And that felt good.
Well, sometimes when they answer questions too, I'll get a rush throughout my entire body.
This is so cool. I'm just like, I don't know if addicted is the right word, but I'm addicted to this energy. And the energy, it just feels so wonderful.
Loving, warm, yeah. Yes, it is a very wonderful energy to be in.
It totally is.
Yes.
So I want to thank you again, Tammy, for being a guest on Awakening with Katina Love, and all the information you shared, and the enlightenment and the channeling and all that good wisdom that you have and experience that you share. I'm grateful for that, for you to come on and share. Come on and share your experience with us. So thank you.
You're welcome, and I thank you for the opportunity to share this. I mean, it's my passion. It's my heart's desire to do this. So when I get to do it, there's nothing better than that. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love. Namaste.